Truth Speaks. It is provocative, it is thought provoking, it is bold and embodies the very nature of both the human experience and the human condition.
All right, folks, welcome to the Truth Speaks podcast, where truth is shared through real conversations with real people. I'm your host, Dee Mosley, and we're broadcasting from YD Creative Studios. Joining us today is not one, but two amazing people. And listen, every now and again, you'll see us share the sofa with amazing co-hosts like this wonderful man of God we see with us today. And most of you, and we're going to do a lot of laughing today too with this man right here. But most of you know who he is. And if you don't know who he is, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, first of all. And you need to get to know who he is. Joining us today as co-host is Bishop Calvin Daniel. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you so much.
To be here.
I appreciate it.
A little bit nervous because
Why?
This is a little out of my comfort zone.
Okay, I get that.
I am so glad to assist.
It's out of my comfort zone too. We on this road together.
Yes, ma'am.
But if you know him, you know that he pastors two churches in the area,
Yes.
Greater Harvest and St. Paul. And not only that, he's known across the country because he has a thriving online ministry. So you can find him anywhere. Again, Bishop Calvin Daniel.
Thank you for having
Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. And with that being said, we're going to welcome our guest today. She is an amazing, wonderful, phenomenal woman. Listen, normally what we do, thank you, Dr. Tara, for joining us. Normally what we do, though, is we read our guests' bios just to add context to the conversation that we're going to have. But because we're not necessarily talking to you from a personal perspective and you're not sharing your personal story with us, we won't worry about a bio. But just know, people, she is credentialed down, okay? She's not a frosted flakes, got the corn box doctor, okay? She's a clinical psychologist who is going to lend. She's not just a doc. She didn't pay. She paid for it, but
You pay for
she
it.
put the blood, sweat, and tears into that PhD that she has. So, Dr. Dolores Tarver, thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, ma'am. So, all right. What are we talking about today? Well, again, like I said, it's not so much so that we are talking to someone who wants to share their story so that they can, offer something from their testimony to help somebody along the way. But we are helping today. We're going to be talking about where we are, where we've found ourselves in the country today. January has barely left us. We're in the third. We're on the downslope of the third quarter of the year, but it feels like we about 6 months in.
Yes.
Right? Just because of where we found ourselves in the country, we're dealing with social unrest. And the political climate that we're in, and it a lot of it in large part is because of the new executive administration that we found ourselves running the country. So, and he said, "Lord, help us." I want to say that too.
I do. Every day.
Right.
I do say it every day.
So that's all we can.
Sometimes
I think
can
we
just
all.
wave their hand.
I
Just
think
can't
we
say a
all.
word.
Yeah. We all find ourselves waking up every morning saying, "Lord, help us."
Amen.
So what from saying that, what can you offer from us, from both of us saying, "Lord, Jesus, help us"?
One, I will say you're not alone, clearly. We all collectively are experiencing this together. And I think just like we've gotten through anything else in our life, right? We have done so collectively. We have had God at the helm. And we have been with other believers, and we've been with other non-believers.
Right.
And we have joined together to be able to support each other, and that's the space we're in now. And so what I do know is that we've already done this before. So this isn't new to us because we've had to go with the lack. We have we've been cast out. We've been kicked around. We've been beat down. We've been blocked. We've been, and I will say this, I understand that sometimes in life, God will humble us to remind us that we've gotten comfortable. And I think we had gotten to a place of comfort.
Wow.
And in your comfort, you get complacent. And you just expect that certain things are going to be there and you don't appreciate them. But when your perspective changes from looking down, from being up to being down, looking up, a lot of things come out of that. Creativity comes out of that. Resilience comes out of that. Stick with itness comes out of that. Understanding, empathy, humility come out of that.
Wow.
Collectiveness comes out of that. And whereas we don't always like how we get there, sometimes we need to learn some lessons the hard way, as the season saints say. Because we don't believe
See,
that
right,
we agree.
right.
Mhm.
And you just said a lot. You
Mhm.
probably just answered every question that we had in less than 30 minutes. I think you did. Go ahead.
I think she did, but there are actually some people in this time that are giving up on both.
Yeah.
They have given up on, as I would say, the God side,
Mm-hmm.
and they have given up as far as the political side. Some people are saying just neither.
Yeah.
Now, with your intervening, if you had a person that says, "No more do I trust God because
That's
I
good.
feel as if God is punishing me
My goodness.
with a leader."
That's good.
So they on one side saying, "Why would a God that you
We
say?"
confused.
Oh, why? Yeah. I mean, and then on the other side it says, "Yes, we don't believe God. This is this is the right." So help me,
Come on now.
because I preach to people all the time,
Yeah.
and I don't have to do too much on that side. But I'm that's my job.
Yeah.
How would you help us with that? How tell us? I've given up. Forget it.
Absolutely. My mother used to, in her Bible, I have her Bible, she's passed on now. In her Bible, anything she prayed for, she would write on in the cover of her Bible. Anytime that prayer was answered, she would cross it out. Sometimes in life, we're only focused on the right now. And so we forget about all the what I've been through. And so what I like to tell people is roll the beautiful bean footage. Don't just look at the last 6 months. Look at the last 16 years. And then, because psychologists, we're data driven folks. We like to see the evidence.
Yeah.
Instead of just making a statement on one data point, we need several data points. And so I will tell people now, has it been that you have not had in all of those 16 years? Or has it been that the past 6 months have been hard?
Good.
Now, there aren't a lot of things that we're going to give up on the first time it doesn't work. That includes our children.
Yeah.
That includes our spouses.
Let's talk about it.
Some of y'all working.
Because if we did,
Listen, some of y'all working jobs, y'all done fell in and out of love with multiple times
Yes.
over the 16 years. So why is it that with God, because God is not a genie. And I tell people, because you didn't get something that you asked for, that now you're going to abandon what you say are your values, your principles. That's a relationship. You've made a covenant with God, that this is an unconditional relationship. So even when I don't do right, and then I tell people now, if I evaluated you the same way you're evaluating God, what would your report card look like?
That's good. That is good. Listen, we are we're about to go into our first break, but we're going to continue along those lines of what you're talking about, with aligning our faith with where we are and how we absolutely do that. How do we do that when we wake up every morning? And let's be honest, most of us pick up our cell phones before we get on our knees.
Yes.
So we're looking at social media and all of these different things that are contrary to our beliefs, and that tells us so much more different than what we believe, because we're looking at what we see.
Right.
So hold that thought, and we're going to go to break. But before we do, we want to make sure that you all know who our headline sponsor is for our wonderful podcast and the reason for us being. So we want to thank Alfreda and the Voices of Hope for being our headline sponsor for season 1. And with that, we'll be right back.
Too late. Ooh, it is too late, my Lord. It is too late.
All right. back, and we were just talking about how we can align our faith with what is happening in the world today. So my next question to you is just elaborate on the importance. And listen, y'all know I got cue cards. So we ain't even gonna play. Can you elaborate on the importance of focusing on just what we can control, as opposed to what seems to be so many things that are out of our control right now? Elaborate on that. How can we do that?
That's the second part of Bishop's question to me earlier. When people show up hopeless, I think it's important for us to, one, recognize that we're never hopeless, we're never powerless. Oftentimes, God can move when we get out the way. And so sometimes we are so used to doing things on our own that we forget actually that we have help, one, and two, where that help comes from. So sometimes we need to really think about being intentional and being present. We were just talking about being present in the moment. We're living so much in what other people are doing. And we're in this social media age where we're picking up so much from the television,
Absolutely.
so much from our phones, as you mentioned. And I want us to be clear and understand that everything you put in your body has a side effect. Social media is no exception.
Through our eyes.
Back it up one time. Pause for the people. Right in the camera.
You say that real slow.
Yes.
Okay. Everything that we put in our bodies has a side effect. Everything.
So that means, you're gonna preach that Sunday.
You bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna get it something.
And we is it?
No, that is what we call that's stuff.
That'll preach.
Yes.
All day and twice on Sunday.
It's answering if they grab it.
All
of
day.
course, we ain't gonna get into that. But it's good.
Yeah. And twice on Sunday. But you touched on something. When you said when you started talking about social media. Like I said, we the first thing we do, unfortunately, because that's the day in it. I can remember a time. I'm gonna talk about me.
Talk about
where I would just look at everybody with their phones in their hands doing like this. I'm like, why is everybody? Don't y'all see this big old world around us? What happened to looking out into being present where you are?
Right.
But now I'm that person.
First thing.
Looking, walking around, about to fall in a pothole because I got my face is in my phone. Well, how did that happen? And I mean, social media is what is driving us right now. So, and that's toxic within itself. With
Very
everything
much.
that's since January 20th, all we see.
How do we stop the drive? Are we gonna always? Is the driving gonna get worse? Because they don't want to keep updating.
Yeah, updating social media,
Updating phone technology,
right. And what we're seeing is the politics and everybody. Of course, you got folks on this side, folks on that side, and then us church folk in the middle that's taking either side. And then you have some church folks who say, "Well, I'm not, I'm trusting God." But at the same time,
I'm not doing any works now. Now, come on now, we got to have faith in work.
You paying the same. Your eggs are going up just like everybody else's, and you got to be present.
Yes.
And how do you balance all of that?
So few things. One, what ended up happening is convenience. That's how we got convenience. Because now my email and my calendar and
that's me.
My contact. Most of us, if we needed to call somebody right now for help
without
a phone, could not because we don't have any numbers memorized.
I don't know my cheering phone.
That's what I'm saying. You might remember the numbers from when you were growing up because you didn't have a cell phone, so you had to know those.
Mama them phone
right.
numbers.
You know that. I know. I still know my home phone number. Right.
By heart.
Because you had to all that.
Yeah.
All that. Right. So what we're in this season, this is the season of Lent, so this is a great time for this conversation, is to get back to basics. Now, I know most of us use our cell phones for alarms, which is why we're picking it up, because I'm turning that alarm off, putting it on snooze, whatever I'm doing. But why it's in my hand?
I'm scrolling.
Yes.
Let me ask you this.
Okay. Okay.
Now, when you say get back
to basics.
To the basics. I'm trying to get there.
Okay.
So, see. So,
have your way.
So,
dear Lord.
So, Lord, how basic
Mm.
because you got the. If you go back to the basics, some might be. We're not going back to the 8-track basics. You got it.
We
Mm.
won't. No, the technology wouldn't allow us to go that far.
Okay. So
Right.
so is there a basic line?
There is what we call mindfulness.
Oh,
Right?
That's good.
okay.
Mindfulness is
Okay.
about intentionality.
Gotcha.
Right. So one of the things that I tell people is if you don't have a plan, you already in peril.
Downfall.
Come on. So what is your plan? What is it that you're trying to achieve? And oftentimes we don't have a plan. What we have is a reaction.
It's too late. Ooh, it is too late, my Lord. It is too late.
We were talking about convenience. Please continue.
So we got here because of convenience. And what we need to do is go back to the basics. So the basics are being intentional about what it is that you're trying to work toward. What's your plan? What do I want for my family? What do I want for myself? Instead of, and I tell people that media is not feeding you. And a lot of times people think I'm going to the news for information. I'm going on social media for information. None of that is going to move you to action.
You said media isn't feeding you.
It is not
all the
feeding
rest of that stuff that we focus on more than our core values.
Yes.
And our belief system.
Yes.
Let me ask you this though, because you seem to, matter of fact, I know you got it down. How do you separate the professional Dr. Tarver from all of the other mess, from what we're dealing with, from how do you separate your profession from your faith and being a Christian?
I don't. Wherever I go, there I am. So she comes with me too. Now, a person may or may not want that. And so there's a lot of ways you can share ministry without ever having to mention any of it. Because God has got a purpose and God has got a faith and belief. And honestly, most of us have the same core values, however we choose to describe them. But they're all the same. Want to be treated well.
Right.
Right. Want to have some empathy for other people.
Right.
Want to be able to have a fruitful life. Want to be able to know that you're not in this thing by yourself.
That's good.
So however you cage it, it's still the same principles.
And in saying that, that was good. I'm glad you said that. So when you encounter, but you said that we all have the same core values if you look at it. But when you encounter feeling like or being uh, presented with what doesn't look like someone or something that does not have the same core values as me, how do you deal with that? Because I think that's where, and we're getting back to the whole reason why we're here today. How do you combat that? How do you deal with that? Because it feels like we have an entity at the helm that does not share the same core values as me, who doesn't have empathy, who looks at me as who doesn't see me, who doesn't see my family, who doesn't it doesn't look like he cares anything about whether or not my children will have a place to lay their heads, food to eat, or grown children whether or not they'll be able to get a job because they're looking at them differently from this whole DEI perspective. I got black kids. I'm very black, but I feel like that's all you see because that's how you all are framing DEI when which within itself that is not the definition of DEI, but that's what the perception is being put. Right. So how do you, if you're faced with somebody who doesn't look like they feel like they're being very empathetic towards me?
So we're talking about a few different things. You all asked before, how do you focus on what you do have control over? Now, there is nothing I'm going to be able to do that's going to change a Donald Trump.
Right.
But that person that's in my office, who's coming in my office because they're having problems in their life, then I ask them, and I'll tell people all the time now, if you come into therapy for someone just to commiserate with you,
right.
the therapy isn't the place for you. And so I do try to provide an understanding and an orientation because it's important for people to know the rules that we're abiding by. So you're here because what you're doing currently is not working.
Exactly.
So if you're still doing that,
That's good.
then, and it's still not working, then maybe you can try some of the things I'm suggesting to you as different strategies to look at it from a different perspective. Now, then there are the people who are misguided and misunderstood. And this is where the disinformation of social media and the misinformation of social media. There are some people who, it is not that they don't have the same values. It is that they feel as if allowing me to have means it's going to take away from them. Right? And
That's where we are.
That's a worldview thing. Mm-hmm. We're a collective people. I know that I can be over here and have everything I need, and you can too. And we're not in competition with each other. We all can have, right? It's not about me controlling yours. We collectively can all have what we need, and me having what I need does not take away from you getting what
we're not in competition.
We're not. Then there are some people.
What can we say? I can ask this question.
Absolutely.
Is social media healthy or not?
That's good.
Because now I am a decent person. I get on and try to teach principles.
Absolutely.
So
definitely,
some people grab their
definitely
phone and this man gonna say something good, or vice versa. Then there's some that says it's evil. It's evil. Evil.
Yeah.
So
should we take social media breaks?
Is there some people? Now I'm for those school, you know, I don't believe breaks, but on my side I hear people say fast.
Breaks, fast.
Biblically, I just say go take a bath on the one with food. So you know, I mean, come on. I take a break, fast. But is that helping me, or is it good, or is it?
Or are we becoming disconnected when we do that?
So multiple things can be true at the same time. Depending on how you use social media determines the answer to that question. But as you stated earlier, there are people on social media, and social media is one place where we don't fact check. Now, you won't go to anybody's grocery store and buy your groceries. You know where the good fruit is. You know where the good vegetables are. You know where that meat is not expired at, right? You have, because you understand, you've done your research. Now, when it comes to social media, whatever comes up in their reel, and that's where people don't understand the propaganda piece. There are people sending information your way for chaos. Right. They are sending information for your way for disinformation, for misinformation. They are sending we call it clickbait.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you a title that's going to be like, oh, that sounds juicy. So let me go.
And I'm believing it.
And I'm going to believe it.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But they don't
be buying.
You know what? No.
It's a
propaganda in the pulpit. That's a whole nother conversation.
But it happens, right? And I know as a bishop, you don't just allow anyone to be in your, because you know that this is your flock. And so whoever is coming in here is a representation of you saying, this is okay. I'm the gatekeeper.
That's right.
And so even though I may not know that person, I trust you. So we're not doing that with social media. And we need to check your sources. There are people on, and I always tell people, consider the source of the information. Just because it sounds good does not mean it's good, healthy, or accurate. And so you need to know the credentials. You can look my name up right now and get my license number and everything. You can verify my training,
credentials down,
all of that. There are a lot of people who have a lot of followers because honestly, we like mess. And that's the second part of it.
That's so true.
Is it bad? Yes.
Because
it feeds
you feed the mess.
Feeds the mess.
Some of us are popular because
of the mess.
It's the truth.
I'm staying out of it.
You in it. You on the sofa, sir. You're on the sofa. He's on the sofa.
But so
he just put out a disclaimer.
When he asked the question.
Wait. I just put out a disclaimer on the truth.
But anyway, so what we're saying then, I put myself in this. That is why you get more number the messer you are.
And think about it. I want you to really, really think about that. Now and we're in the season now of things being canceled.
Cancel culture.
And what people will say is it's being canceled because of low ratings.
Oh my Lord.
Right? But now I can pull up several sites right now. Misinformation, disinformation, foolishness, they have millions of followers because foolishness sells. When you all ask, how do you cope? How are you managing? People escape. So I'm going to go to these worlds where there's this,
What feels
right?
good to me.
So I don't have to deal with my own stuff, because if I can look and see your chaos and I don't have to deal with the reality of my world, now that's not a productive strategy. It's an avoidance-based strategy. However, that's what a lot of people are going to, right? Because when we're having a conversation, what am I going to do? I'm trying to get you off of what.
So instead of, some folks, they go to the bottle.
Yes.
They pop pills.
Yep.
They do drugs
They
as
eat,
a way, eating
gambling,
as a way of
shopping.
escape. Right. All of that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have folks as a way of escape.
Absolutely.
They look for the misinformation,
The
disinformation.
Absolutely.
I wasn't going to say mess.
Because it is. It's mess.
It's okay. Yeah.
Which is why you have to be intentional about what your gift means.
So with that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to thank our headline sponsor once again, Alfreda and the Voices of Hope, for being our headline sponsor for season 1, and we'll be right back.
Too late. Ooh, it is too late, my Lord. It is too late.
Okay, and we're back. We were just discussing what disinformation and misinformation looks like, and how we can use that to disconnect from our own realities, right?
Absolutely. So to go back to the initial point of how can I be healthy with it, one, you need to limit what's coming in.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be intentional about, and I really encourage people, please don't start your day off with mess. We were talking before about I'm picking the phone up, I'm instantly going on.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
So don't start your day with mess.
That's the daily vitamin for the day. Whenever this airs, please
don't start your day with mess. Don't start your day calling people. Don't start your day on social media. Don't start your day looking at the news.
Wow.
When that alarm goes off, and this is where the intentionality comes in. What is my purpose? Whatever it is that you set as your goal. Whatever it is that your intentionality, your plan is, that's what you get up doing.
So what you're saying is a lot of things we need to detox from. Like, and definitely the news.
Absolutely.
Because, and I'll say this, again, this is my testimony. I found myself getting absolutely consumed with the news. Mm-hmm. Like every day since January 20th up until recently, I was hard on MSNBC, CNN, because I'm like, what this doing today? And it just, a light bulb went off. And I'm like, why am I paying more attention to what's going on over here than what is within me with the word? I felt like I was working harder on trying to make sure that I was getting my word than looking to see what was going on. So we do need to detox.
That's easy.
Is it easy?
You get a lot of people mad at you or upset. I'm trying to use the right words.
You know what I love about podcasts?
What I'm saying?
What I love about podcasts is we don't have to be so pulled together. We can talk about how we feel.
See how you say you was looking at NBC News
and CNN.
There are actually people that look at other people.
Woo! I'm about to pass out.
And say, I'm trying to. Wow. This young lady doctor got some good information. That's what God gave her.
Hands down.
And it's sharpened. Mm-hmm. Or I could be somebody that says, I need to compete with that. That ain't nothing for me.
That's right.
So I'll be looking. Instead of, like she said, looking at being intentional about that's it.
Exactly.
So I'm just saying, I'm glad that we were transparent. You said, well, so I said it to say this, we all are guilty of that.
Absolutely. Okay. That's I'll take that. Sometimes I feel like I.
Well, you're not. That's where. Come on, man. You're a preacher too.
Yeah.
They get rough on us sometimes, and we need to hear somebody.
You do
say it in a totally different way,
from a different perspective.
That's all I need.
That is why the sofa has 3 people on it today.
Yeah, you need to get down with the sofa. See, you got to keep getting down with the soap.
Yeah.
You know, if you're gonna be the soap,
Look, that was an endorsement. I'm sorry.
You're gonna have the soap. You
Speaks.
gotta go with it.
You gotta
You
go.
going good though. Good.
I
I'm
love
sorry.
it.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir.
I haven't spilled.
I feel validated now. I'm validated.
She needs to hear that.
It's validated. I'm sorry. Continue. Thank you, sir. Continue.
Absolutely. So one of the things people need to understand is the news, that is what it's intended to do, is intended to bring you back. Why you think it's a cycle? The same information on repeat, right? You remember how you used to go to the movies and they would have all those commercials before and you'd be like, I need a snack, right? The same thing happens with the news. It is intended for you to deep dive, to get obsessed with, to become anxious with, to get stressed, obsessed, and want to come back and know the rest of it. I need to figure out what happened. That's the intent of it. That's why I tell you the news it was not intended to pour into you for you to leave changed and different. You're not going to ever get that from the word. Come on, saints. Which is why we have to be intentional, because the word will pour into you and it will activate you.
That's why now I got it. Psalm 1 says,
come on now.
Blessed is the man is intentional, who walks not in the counsel
of the ungodly.
Intentional.
My goodness.
Oh my God, I felt that.
Okay, did you not? Because he yes, you can.
No, know what I'm talking about.
You see that?
Everything.
There it is. A blessed person is blessed. Not just because of material things, but a blessed man is blessed by being intentional.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
yes,
God.
sir. So imagine, and for people that are believers, non-believers, wherever you step out, right, you can be intentional too. What's your purpose? What am I working toward? There is nothing you can tell me you're working toward with the news. Nothing. But now, if you want to be active in your community, then you go in your community and you be active. If you want to say, I need to exercise, what's getting in my way? I'm picking up this phone. That's what's getting in my way.
Can I say this?
Come on, sir.
And I'm not trying to help people out, but I'm helping people.
Help the people out. The people need help.
Do you know why? That people are not intentional. Because wherever you see intentional, you see commitment.
You do. You do.
You cannot be intentional without commitment. Now, tied in commitment is three things.
Come on, sir.
It's got to be devotion.
That's good.
Effort. And time.
That's
and
good.
one more for you.
Go ahead.
Sacrifice.
Oh my!
Woo!
Oh my!
Yeah, there has to be sacrifice.
Because when we talk about convenience, right? And this is why, it's another reason why we don't want to commit. We don't want to be intentional. Because then that would mean it would not be convenient.
Oh.
You better make it live in here.
Yeah, convenience. I mean, yeah, drop the mic. Drop the mic. I mean,
just don't call it. I'll pick it up.
Drop the mic. We're there. We are there. And
take that pen. Just gotta get that.
Drop the mic.
You just gotta get that.
Yeah, and let it marinate.
Let that just sit on you.
Yes.
That's because that's how we got here. We got here because we were not committed. That's why 70 million, 8 million of us didn't vote.
Come on and say that.
We were not committed. We were not going to be intentional because we were going to do what was convenient.
Made every excuse.
We made every excuse.
I have heard so many excuses as to why most of us did not vote, but now we're all
because it looks like they were right. No, I'm not.
Okay, now what? No, what looks like they were right about what? Go ahead.
Well,
yeah,
right about. You know, see now y'all.
Right.
Right.
So let's just say I'm trying to get somebody to go vote, and they come back and say, "Well, I don't think my vote don't help because he gonna win." The election was already fixed.
A lot of people feel that way.
Yes. So they feel like, and then when it happens, they like, see. So now it's hard on me to preach that God is still there.
There you go. That's where we are.
I'm kind of like, now that I'm not careful, that's why I need to talk to teachers.
Come on. It's real. Yeah.
This thing will get in me like, I'm not really saying nothing.
I'm
speaking for some preachers. I'm not speaking for all of them because some just straight. But there are some that says, you know, this thing, there are some of us, the reason we're healthy because we admit. You know,
because we're balanced.
We just say, this thing getting
We
me
live
too.
in real
'cause,
life.
Yeah, I'm preaching for God, and I'm yet grasping for help.
And answers.
You know,
Wow.
so I'm trying to breathe. I
Mm.
know you need oxygen.
Where the
Absolutely.
oxygen? You
My
gotta help
God,
yourself first.
yes, I
Right.
can't take this off. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's kind of, that's why I try to keep a balance. It says when I look at my people, I say, I understand where you are. Because I've been there.
Right
Yes.
there.
And I still got to preach what you just called faith.
Absolutely.
I still got to tell you to be intentional.
Gotta preach faith and
Be
buy them
intentional.
$11 eggs.
And that stuff will run you crazy
Mm.
if you allow
If
it.
you allow
let it.
it to.
If you
That's the, is that
now,
the
I
key?
got
Is
it
that
now.
the
I'm
key?
being intentional.
If you allow
I got a
it.
lot of intent. You have to be intentional.
Nothing under the sun is new, right?
No, nothing under the sun is new. Everything you've done has already been done before you. One, be intentional. But in order to be intentional, you have to have a plan. So first you create your plan. You pray. You go in communion. You in fellowship. You're in understanding. Be around people who want to support you in your growth, not people that just going to tell you what you want to hear.
It's too late.